Welcome to the Social Podcast, where no discussion or debate is off limits.
Oh my God, is this what happens on all of the weeks that are short because of the holidays? You're just extra energetic? Is that what's happening? Welcome to the Social, everybody. We love your energy. Thank you so much for being here. We'd like to welcome back to the panel writer Sachi Cole. Welcome back, Sachi. Hi.
Good to have you back.
Thanks. Obviously all for you, Sachi.
I assumed.
I know. Okay, I don't know if you all heard about this first story, but Justin Bieber must really believe it's never too late to say I'm sorry. You're welcome for not singing that. After his wife Hailey's Vogue cover was released, he actually ratted on himself on Instagram, and he revealed to all of us that he told her once during a fight she would never be on the cover of Vogue. So could your relationship, they are married, but could your relationship come back from a low blow like that? Oh my God, Sachi?
I am famously divorced. I've turned it into a profession. Nice. If my husband said this about me in public, I would put his whole body in my mouth and just pull out bones. Like a chicken wing. Like, Justin hates her so much. This is what you say to and about someone you don't like. It's bad enough he said it to her, then he said it in public at a time when she is just being like harangued by all these people who are angry about whatever happened with his ex-girlfriend. This is crazy behavior with your wife.
Yeah, you don't think they could come back? You think this is the beginning of the end?
I mean, if she wants to come back, they'll come back. But the reality is that it's on her to decide to come back.
Okay,
this is bananas.
Listen, my instinct is all the same as yours, but I just wanted to put a critical lens on this. Like, does it matter at all that we don't know what was said right beforehand? I'm not justifying. I'm like, what if she started like their fighting style?
It's a snippet of a conversation.
Right?
Yeah. Like, what if she said, you're never going to win a Grammy?
Or you're going to never be...
He's like, I already did that, babe.
But it's like, it could be you're never going to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Okay, well, you're never going to be on Vogue, right? Like, we just don't know the context of this. I'm just floating it as an idea, guys. That's all.
You're right. Maybe their love language is hatred, and we have to respect that.
I've done that one, and it ends in divorce.
And sometimes it ends in divorce. I'll say two things. The first thing is, Selena girl, we get it now. We get it. We get it. We understand.
Why do you gotta bring her into this?
Because I gotta drag her into it at all times.
It.
The second thing is, I think if there's a woman out there who's in a relationship where you have a partner who talks to you like this and always likes to like even the score and go really low, use that anger, because that's obviously gonna make you angry, as fuel to prove them wrong. Be like, oh, you don't think? You don't think I can do it? Watch me. You don't think I can lose that weight? Watch me. You don't think I can become the CMO? Watch me. So I say flip it on him so you can quiet him up, because that's what he's essentially saying.
Yeah, so,
I have to own up to the fact that I was wrong.
Here's the thing. I am shocked that he ratted on himself. Like, honestly, I don't know if that's a good thing or if that's a bad thing. Because what's that saying? Hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
And what he's telling us in this post is like, I am dirty and nasty when I fight, but really I was doing the wrong thing, which was really trying to get intimacy and connection with my wife. But here's my problem with that. I love the idea of like revenge anything, like revenge body, revenge Vogue cover.
Yeah.
Sure, I love that. The only problem with that is does that mean that in his eyes, her only worth is what she actually achieves and not actually deep respect? For example, he says at the end, I have to eat my words, basically, I paraphrase. I have to eat my words because guess what? You actually did it. So does that mean you wouldn't have respected her if she didn't get the Vogue cover? Like, my point is, this is a guy who fights because he wants to win and because he wants to be right, not because he actually cares about her. So I think this is the beginning of the end.
You think so?
Yeah. This is dirty. She is the mother of his newborn son.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that when they fight, it's dirty, nasty. And these are not babies. This is how I used to fight when I was 17, Justin.
Yeah, no, there's no question that this is very immature, but is there some little piece of like you've all pointed out, he didn't have to go to Instagram to show this. He's kind of on bended knee in a way. Again, this did sound like very bad or immature fighting.
And his spelling is so bad, it's so distracting.
That's what makes it even worse. It's like you couldn't even spell it
We didn't
correctly.
have to know about this. So he's in a
can't.
way showing like, okay, listen, I know that this was bad. I know I'm not I was disrespectful in the way that I handled this, but I'm saying it now, and I'm owning that fact that it was wrong.
But is he only owning it because she did it? What if she never got this Vogue cover?
Well, again,
Well, then he would feel like, yeah, I'm right about you. Maybe he chose her because he's like, I like that you're here and I'm here. And this is why I talk to you that way. And the fact that she's actually done something, he's like, oh, I'm surprised. Look at you.
well, we're analyzing this.
Well, he put it
tell.
out there for us
We're
to analyze.
analyzing
We
it because
didn't
he
need
said
to
it.
know this.
Yeah.
And neither
It's
did
the
Selena. She
world
didn't need to
we're
be
living
dragged
in.
into this, but I dragged her in anyway. This is just the way life goes.
All
But
right.
Chris, actually, you said you made a business out of being divorced.
Yes, I sure
It's a
did.
career, it's a
Yeah.
profession.
Thank you.
I know you've discussed a lot before about fighting style with your current ex. Did you fight dirty, or how was the fighting style, and then what ended it?
Yeah, I mean, this kind of fighting it makes you doomed. This isn't cute. It's not like picking at each other. There isn't even like room to even have like a laugh or to maybe learn anything
But
from
would
it.
tone matter? Like, again,
Of
sorry,
course-
I'm just
no,
saying,
of
like,
course tone
no,
matters,
guys,
yes.
I'm just floating just different ideas. Jason and I sometimes, when we're in, like, in order to diffuse a fight, we'll start saying stupid things to each other. Sometimes, if you were listening to it or they were written down, you'd be like, you people are jerks
But did
to each
he
other.
put it
I know,
on
but you're-
Instagram?
No, but he doesn't. He's
But
not
he didn't put it on Instagram.
On Instagram. So
Great.
there.
Justin should also not be on Instagram. Perfect solution.
That
okay,
too.
That is
Okay,
the solution.
all right.
Yeah.
Just stay
Okay.
offline. Your
That
marriage
too.
will last
That's
longer.
the answer.
That's a good idea. Okay, we're
Delete
gonna
the
move on to
account.
something different. So someone wrote to the Guardian's advice column to complain that his girlfriend uses his earphones, and he thinks it's weird, and she thinks it's weird that he's grossed out. So is it gross to share earphones?
Yes.
Okay, I think the majority of you feel the way that I feel here, because let's be honest, let's call earwax what it is. Okay? It's your ears poo. There's no other way to talk about it.
I know, but-
it's your ears poo.
Okay, wait.
So when you look at it that way, I'm not wearing your underwear, so don't wear my earphones.
Do you brush your teeth? Do you brush?
Yes.
Do you share toothbrush?
No, I have my own toothbrush.
I don't understand those people either.
Toothbrushes.
To the
Okay,
couples
no.
on this, panel, don't you share worse things than earwax? Like, you're in an intimate relationship.
That's different. That's different.
You guys are doing other things that are probably more disgusting than the earwax. No?
Well, how do I answer
just-
that question?
You
I'm
don't.
not touching it.
Right?
Everybody here is a virgin, so nobody knows
you're
what
right.
you're talking
My
about.
bad. My bad. You're absolutely right.
But as the only non-virgin here, obviously I
Okay,
can
of
speak to
course.
this. It's
Of course.
still gross. It's gross. What do you mean you can't get your own headphones? It's not even necessarily about it being like icky, which
Yeah.
it is. Why can't we be separate people? Why can't I have a thing and you have your own thing? Why are we sharing these
because
things?
there's some people who just like to share.
Gross.
There are people
No.
who also will just like, I've seen this happen where it's like, hey, I'm listening to a song. Do you want to listen to it?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Pop
And
it
they'll
in.
like a virtual stranger or a colleague.
Yeah.
I'm with you though. I mean, I wouldn't
Yeah,
call
yeah,
it
yeah.
your ears poo, but I will say it definitely it holds infection. Like I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I think what he should do, because I think you can show people better than you can tell them, and I think that he should just get tag her in all of those. You know those earwax, those professional earwax removal videos?
Handlers.
Tag her in all of those, and then gift her a nice little earphones for like this. Watch this. Just tag her in this.
Oh, no! I needed a disclaimer!
Needed to be a disclaimer.
And then tell her, honey, never use my earphones again. End of conversation.
Andrea! You can't spring that on us like that!
The Chicago Sun-Times recently printed their 2025 summer reading list, but good luck picking up those books because some of them don't even exist. The list of recommendations were curated by AI, and the journalist behind it admitted he didn't double check. I know. So where is the line when it comes to journalists using AI? Sachi, I'm going to throw to you first, darling.
Not a lot of ethical consumption of AI in journalism. Almost impossible to use ethically. This is one of the funniest examples of it, and I really like it because everybody gets in trouble. But there isn't really a way to use it that doesn't feel like it crosses some boundary where it steals somebody's work or is just kind of like boring, frankly. When my book came out a little while ago, somebody wrote like a fake AI memoir about me. It's like Sachi Cole, Love and Loss and a Story of Resilience. In what world would I use any of those words?
Exactly.
But it was like a full rip of my Wikipedia, and it was just like a lot of fluff and circumstance, but it's devised to trick somebody into buying what they think is the book I wrote, but obviously isn't. $7-8 on Amazon, it's been pulled. But there's no ethical consumption of it, in part because it either steals from somebody, or in this case, it's false, demonstrably wrong. But the other thing about AI, which is what it strips from art, is that the point of art is who made it and how they made it. Under what circumstances did they make it? What was it for? What did it do? And when you make something that's made by a robot, you lose the context. And so what's the point without the context?
Okay, but I have a question for you. Okay, so you wrote your book, and I also wrote a book. It's a lot of hard work.
Yes.
Now, AI didn't exist when I was writing my book, but there were some days where I was struggling, and if I could just be like, here are my thoughts, you know what, AI, help me out, write me a chapter with all of this information and this research, hit send. Is that so bad?
Yes, because if I could run a marathon, if somebody picked me up and ran it for me,
Okay, all right.
then I didn't run the marathon.
Okay, so how do we feel? So then how do we feel about a ghostwriter? You know, a lot of people have books and they use a ghostwriter.
Sure.
And when you see the book, it's like written by, and it's not the ghostwriter's name, it's the person whose face is on the book. How do we feel about that?
Well,
Isn't
that person has
kind
been
of
paid for a service. That is a person who's been paid for a service to do something for an author. That is a job.
Okay, but it's not here's the deal, but what I'm saying is the author who's put their name by such and such, they know they didn't write it. They just fed that person information, and that person put it together really nicely and said, here's my book, and they do a book tour, and no, they never talk about the fact that they actually didn't sit down, open their laptop, and write that book.
Well, it's their story, right?
It's the process.
Well, when I put it in AI,
process.
it is this guy's an idiot, because he got caught and it's embarrassing, he didn't double check anything. But suppose you put in all of your work, all the research, and you're like, hey, AI, just clean this up for me. Make this a little bit more
in particular
refined.
in this situation, though, it is a journalist, and we already know that it's like news is having a hard time right now. So I worry that this is the last nail, or one of the last nails in the news coffin. Like, news has to be doing everything extra in order to prevent AI from taking over. And we need to also make sure that trust is in journalists. And so I think the line for me, if we go back to the original question, is fact checking. And I don't think we can trust AI to do that fact checking at all. We should all be very nervous of somebody. Now, what I want to know more about is what was happening in this newsroom, right? This is the Toronto Star, I believe. Like, what kinds of checks and balances were once in place, perhaps?
No, not Toronto Star. It was in the Chicago
Sun.
Sun.
See, this is why you don't trust AI to do your research.
You're not AI.
I didn't.
You're not AI.
I didn't do AI. I didn't do research there. I didn't check
But
myself.
here's the thing, guys. We sound like the generation that was like, if you want to research something, you can only look it up on Encyclopedia Britannica. No, the horse left the barn a long time ago.
She's right.
From the New York Times AI policy. Newsflash, New York Times uses ChatGPT. Newsflash, the Globe and Mail uses ChatGPT. But here is their policy. This has already been in place. The horse left the barn a long time ago, y'all. And it's not about it controlling us. I think that's to your point. What you're going to hear quickly is that in both of these cases, it is human oversight that must trump I hate to even use the word Trump, but you know what I'm saying. It is human oversight that must go on top of everything. So the New York Times AI policy, our editors may employ generative AI tools to create initial drafts of headlines, summaries of Times articles, and other text that helps us produce and distribute the news. That's the New York Times.
Wait.
Okay.
If you've got somebody who's written an article from like some no man's land weirdo magazine that is very slanted one way, that's everything's fed into AI. So I'm just saying, I'm questioning what is the research and how, like, are the right checks and balances so we've actually fact-checked the research that's going into AI?
Yes.
Well, that's
just
the journalist's
because
job. That's where
I
he
said Globe
screwed
and Mail. Globe and Mail also says our editorial code of conduct to which the Globe and Mail journalists are bound states it is unacceptable to represent another person's work as your own. If it's a story that contains text, images, video, or audio produced by ChatGPT or another AI tool, it must be clearly labeled as such or evident as it is in the story. So, in other words, transparency is key. You have to say we use AI in this case. And number two, there has to be a human, to your point. I don't think you can take the human out of this. I think that's where it gets dangerous. I think you're absolutely
And that's
right.
the first thing that will get lost in this, and that's the trouble. It is true that AI has infiltrated a lot of newsrooms. It's very present. I used to work at BuzzFeed. We did, A/B testing on headlines, and there's a lot of automation involved in that sort of in that sort of journalism. This is different. This is a full article made out of whole cloth with real authors and fake books. It is so easy to look up what Rumaan Alam is working on right now and confirm whether or not that's true. But the reality is that in newsrooms, they're understaffed. And the first thing that they're going to cut are jobs like this that are designed to have checks and balances for tech like this, because they think, but we have the tech, so we don't need anybody to look after it. But when you Google something and it gives you an AI summary, the first two are wrong. So you now need to Google something 3 times to make sure it's correct and find the source. It's funny you talk like we sound like, my parents used to say, like, you got to go to the library and read the, go look at like
The
an encyclopedia.
microfiche?
Yeah, you got to get a magnifying glass and go through the Dewey Decimal System.
Yeah.
And that obviously is different because we have the internet. But we also had to talk to each other about how to use the internet and what it meant and how that anybody could put anything on it. That has been true for the entirety that we've had the internet. But now we have this thing that can create stuff. It can make articles, it can make images, it can make people, it can make anything except fingers, it seems perfectly capable of doing.
Just wait for it.
And that is worth concern, and it's worth, I think, a pause.
Yes, well, listen, I want to remind everybody that you have written yourself.
No AI.
Published
No
your own, no AI.
No
your
AI.
memoir.
I did it all
Let's
alone.
remind everybody your memoir is called Sucker Punch, and it's about, quote, what happens when the life you thought you'd be living radically changes course. In this book, you get really personal about a lot of things, including, as we mentioned, your marriage falling apart in great detail.
Yeah.
This book came out in early March. I'd love to know what the reception has been like from all kinds of people, maybe your mom, maybe your ex, maybe other divorcees. What's the feedback?
My parents are like upbeat and confused about it. They're just happy.
Love that. It's a nice combination.
Yeah, they're just like, she's got a job. That's good, right?
Yeah.
Like they're not asking a lot of questions. I hear from a lot of divorcees, people who have had big breakups, and then also people who are trying to have a big breakup. I get a lot of preemptive messages from women saying, I think I'm gonna do it tomorrow. What do I say? What do I do? And I always answer, and then I always get a note the next day that says I did it, and then I never hear from them again. Whoa. And they're all my children, and I send them around, and they tell others how to date their boyfriends.
And her name is Hailey Bieber.
She's next.
And her name
She's
is Hailey
next.
Bieber,
Yeah,
folks.
I'll get her by the end of the year.
Wow, that's
amazing.
your next book. That's
Yeah,
your next
it feels
book.
good.
Sachi, we love having you here. Congrats
for
on the
having
book. Thank you for being here. Thank you.
Subscribe to the Social Podcast so you don't miss a fiery debate. Until next time, socialites.